Ford says you gotta drive it. We're asking why. We've heard the new Genesis tractor series from Ford being described as the Blue Magnum. Now, while that's a great compliment to Ford, we're not so sure we like the comparison, and for several reasons. There's no doubt that Ford should be complimented on the new styling and design of their 70 series tractors. In addition, they have an excellent cab in contrast to their earlier series of products. But when comparing the Ford Genesis to the Case IH Magnum, there are several areas we'd like to address, which will prove to our customers why the Magnum is still the best proven performer available today. Here's the lineup. Ford offers 4 models: the 8670 at 145 horsepower, the 8770 at 160, the 8870 at 180, and the 8970 at 210 horsepower. You can see how they match up to the Magnum. The important thing besides horsepower comparisons is the cubic inch displacement. All 4 of the Ford tractors use 7.5-liter 6-cylinder turbocharged diesel engines, and both the 8870 and 8970 use an air-to-air intercooler. The Magnum series has an 8.3-liter engine. This increased cubic inch displacement offers not only better horsepower, but excellent engine life in tough day-to-day farming operations. The difference between an air-to-air intercooler and the Magnum water-to-air aftercooler system is overall efficiency. The air-to-air system used by Ford allows the temperature of the air to be cooled by the ambient air temperature. The water-to-air aftercooler system used in the Magnum has proved to be an excellent system. The air coming out of the turbocharger is cooled by the engine cooling system. Another measure of an engine's performance is its lugging ability. The Ford sales information says their engines offer a constant power plus torque rise of up to 50%. Let's compare that to the Magnum engines. We'll compare the 8870 to the 7240. Looking at this graph, you can see horsepower above rated along the side and engine RPM along the bottom. The first thing you'll notice is the engine rated speed. Unlike any other major tractor manufacturer, Ford rates their engine at 2100 RPM. We believe this is for improved fuel economy. Plus, they recommend the engine be run at 1900 RPM for PTO work. Another consideration regarding torque rise is the ability of the tractor's main drive line components to handle the increase in PTO torque. For instance, the 8870 is capable of approximately 870 foot-pounds of torque at 2100 RPM. But their advertised increase of 50% means a torque rating of nearly 1300 foot-pounds being transmitted through the drivetrain. This is an impressive amount of lugging ability. But will the tractor hold up to such loads? We noticed an undue amount of smoke coming from the engine during heavy lugging. That means the engine is not able to burn all the fuel being pumped into it. Time will tell if the engine is capable of surviving under these harsh conditions. The design of the engine is old, and it's nothing more than a stroked version of their old 6-cylinder. In the modern age, cylinder sleeves are used in high horsepower engines. It has been found that sleeved engines perform better than block engines because the cooling efficiency is better. In high horsepower engines, the combustion temperatures go dramatically up during lugging. Since Ford is asking a lot out of its 7.5-liter engine already, cooling efficiency becomes a real issue. High heat can cause scoring of the cylinder sleeves and pistons. This could be a reliability problem for Ford. Another comparison between the Genesis and Magnum design is how the engine is mounted in the tractor. Both the Magnum and the Ford use a front frame to which the engine is mounted. This improves the distribution of torque loads placed on the tractor during heavy day-to-day tillage operations. In fact, look a little closer at the front frame of the Ford. It looks identical to the Magnum. Ford has copied us almost exactly. Let's move back to the transmission. Ford offers a new 16-forward, 9-speed reverse power shift. Magnum has an 18-speed power shift, plus a creeper option that no one in the industry can match. Their new electronic shift lever controls the transmission by pushing the controller forward or pulling rearward for direction changes. Speed changes are made by moving the control right for increasing the speed and moving it left for reducing the speed. The transmission can shift up and down sequentially by holding the controller to the left or right. When the desired gear is achieved, you release the controller. Or the controller can be tapped left or right to change one gear at a time. This is a good feature when making frequent gear changes. The transmission controller is programmed at the factory to start out in 5th gear neutral. If the operator wants to start out in another gear, he can pre-select any gear from 1st to 10th. A programmable upshift-downshift button on the console lets the operator automatically change gears for headland turns by 1, 2, or 3 gears. An automatic transport button is also on the console. This button will select a gear between 10th and 16th for roading the tractor. The transmission will automatically find the correct gear based on the engine speed. While we're in the cab, let's glance around. You'll notice the improved visibility over Ford's previous tractors. They've increased the glass surface area, which gives them excellent forward and rearward visibility. There are 2 doors, allowing entry from either side. They are large and allow for easy entrance. Getting out the right side door is a narrow fit. If the console is left near the front, there's little room for an easy exit. But if the operator takes the time to move the console to the back, exit from the right side is easier. In front of the operator is the electronic instrument console. It displays engine RPM, the selected gear, and the speed at which the tractor is traveling. LCD bar graphs indicate fuel level, engine oil pressure, coolant temperature, and exhaust temperature. In the lower right is a display that shows the relative position of the hitch and the percent slip of the drivetrain. In the lower left corner is a diagram of the lighting package. 4 separate groups of lights can be independently controlled using the push panel. Ford laid out the instruments nicely and present a simple and easy-to-read digital display of the tractor's main functions. The operator's console on the right side is also well designed. The entire console is called the Sidewinder by Ford and offers the following controls. The throttle and power shift lever are located at the operator's hand. Next to the power shift is the front-wheel drive engagement control. The differential lock control is located on the console. The hitch control switch allows the operator to raise the implement out of the ground and return it to its preset height, just like Magnum. We noticed the hydraulic controls were color-coded and easy to locate and operate. At the rear of the console are the electronic draft controls. They are well marked and easy to operate. They are not guarded against accidental adjustment. The PTO control on the Ford console is easy to operate. Lift to engage the PTO, then push down to disengage. An attractive feature of the Sidewinder console is its ability to move. A control switch on the rear of the console allows the operator to move it forward or reverse. That way, different operators can adjust the console to their liking. There is one thing missing from the cab, however, and that's the hydraulic flow controls. They're mounted outside. Now just think, you have to open the rear window to adjust the flow of a remote circuit. In dirty, dusty conditions, you just lost the benefit of having a pressurized cab. The hydraulic system offers 3 remote connections on the larger Ford models. The remote connectors are difficult to hook up under pressure. And when the operator pulls the remote hose out, oil is sometimes sprayed out of the connector. The remote connector covers are poorly designed. They can easily be broken off due to an interference problem with the hitch arm. While we're at the rear of the tractor, we notice the hydraulic dipstick is hard to get to. You have to reach through big hoses to remove and install the dipstick. When the PTO is compared to the Magnum, you wonder why Ford elected to go the way they did. Ford uses an old reversible shaft design for their 540 1000 RPM PTO. The Genesis Category 3 hitch has comparable hitch lift capacities to the Magnum. They mount a standard quick hitch to their 8970. This is an option on their 3 smaller tractors. Ford also uses hitch lift and lower switches mounted to their fender, just like Magnum. However, in order to use these switches, the operator must first have the hitch position lever moved forward into the slot on the console. That means an extra trip up into the cab if you've forgotten to position the lever before getting out to hook up the implement. Now, let's turn our attention to some operational characteristics of the Genesis. Ford has developed a newly designed front axle called Super Steer. It provides for a sharper steering radius over their conventional front axle. Their standard axle turning radius using 14.9 R30 tires on the front set to 60-inch spacing is 34 feet. Compare that with the Magnum's 26-foot radius. By adding about $2,500 to the Ford's bottom line, the Super Steer axle can achieve an impressive 23-foot turn. Since January of 1995, the Magnum can be ordered with a specialty axle installed at no additional cost. This axle allows for more row crop tire choices. With the introduction of the specialty axle, smaller front tires can be used, providing an improved turning radius. A 7220 equipped with the specialty axle can use 13.6 R28 row crop tires on the front. Now, the radius reduces to 20 feet for the Magnum. That's actually 3 feet less than the Ford with Super Steer. The new 70 series tractors are a major improvement over the past Ford offerings. We like the power shift transmission with the electronic shift control. The electronic instrumentation is clear and easy to read and interpret. The use of icons and rear-lit displays make it easy to read the cluster. The overall layout of the controls is good. With the introduction of their Sidewinder console, the controls can be moved to accommodate the operator. However, it's too bad Ford has elected to place their flow controls outside the clean cab environment. The areas of questionable concern for us are primarily found in the engine. The same block design, 7.5-liter engine, is asked to perform all the way to 210 horsepower. With the claimed 50% torque rise, that's a lot to ask of a small cubic inch displacement engine. Time will tell if it's able to produce the constant power plus their advertising claims. Turning radius is a non-issue between the Genesis and the Magnum. Even with the expensive Super Steer option, the Magnum can achieve better results using different tire combinations. Ford has a lot to be proud of. They've been able to make several overall improvements to their tractor line, which offers Magnum-like features. But only Magnum can offer your customers real value. You'll find the Magnum to provide the return on investment customers are looking for. With over 50,000 Magnum tractors in service today, the resale value and lasting power of this magnificent tractor has been well proven. Reliability and durability have been built into this tractor. Since its introduction, the Magnum has set a world-class pace to follow. The Magnum was, and still is, ahead of its time, and ever since, customers have been driving the one and only Magnum.